If you're struggling with sales rep turnover, I'm going to show you how to fix it with these 4 foundations. My name is Ryan Holman, founder of Sales Recruiting University. We recruit over 1,000 commission-based sales reps per month and help clients out with retention systems and serve clients on the retention aspect of scaling their teams as well. And you fixing these 4 problems within your sales department will at least 2x your retention rates. Of course, the whole point of recruiting a commission-based sales team, or at least a primarily commission-based sales team, is to ensure the reps actually stick and produce revenue for the company so the company can scale and grow in the way that it wants to scale. Recruiting is actually useless if you don't have the systems to retain reps, resulting into sales production. And the last thing that you want is a zero ROI on your recruiting efforts from a time and financial perspective. So the first foundation that you want to fix is around compensation. Now, when developing your compensation, I want you to think big. And the reason for that actually goes back to recruiting. If you're pitching people into a commission-based sales opportunity and you don't have massive plans for growth in the future, well, that's not going to be really exciting to the marketplace, which is going to hurt your conversion rates in the recruiting process. And therefore, at least from our perspective, you should have big goals in the future so that you can recruit into the future growth of the company. But it's also important from a compensation perspective because you need to understand your budget. So let's say, as an example, you were doing $1 million in revenue and you wanted to scale up to $10 million in revenue in the next 24 months. Well, obviously that's a difference of $9 million in revenue. Well, let's also assume that your average sales rep quota is going to be $500K per year. Well, what this means, if we're going from $1 million to $10 million, which is a difference of $9 million, and we have an average rep quota of $500K, well, of course, I'm going to need 18 commission-based sales reps doing the minimums at $500K to accomplish my goals as a business. Now, in most cases, we would just round those numbers up, meaning in this example, to go from 1 to 10 million, we're going to need a conservative 20-person sales team. And what that does is it allows me to understand the leadership structure that's going to be required to accomplish that. So that from a compensation perspective, I can back out that leadership pay and understand how much I can actually pay sales reps. So as an example, if I wanted to go from 1 to 10 million and I'm going to need 20 sales reps, well, I got to think through the leadership structure. Maybe it's going to be a VP of sales and 4 sales managers under them with 5 sales reps each. And there's my 20-person sales team. Well, of course, in that example, I'm going to have 2 layers of leadership, a VP of sales and sales management. And I need to account for that budget to ensure that I don't overpay the sales team as we grow in the future. So let's say, as an example, we came up with a 25% budget. Well, maybe based on the nature of our model, we're going to have to allocate 10% of that 25% budget, probably not that much, but this is just an illustration. And maybe based on our opportunity, we're going to have to allocate hypothetically 5 to 10% towards sales leadership. Meaning that if it was 10%, we have a 25% total budget for the sales department. That means I have 15% allocated for the sales position. Then from there, of course, I need to take that 15% and create a compensation plan around it. Now, in most situations, you're going to take 2/3 of the budget and allocate it towards the base commission. So in that example, it would be 10% of the 15%. And then the other 15% in some way would be allocated to bonuses, like monthly bonuses as an example. So if we had a 500K average rep quota, which is 40K in revenue per month, well, maybe they get bonuses at 40K, 50K, 60K, 70K, and 80K for the month, depending on how much revenue they bring in. And that would be 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, or 5% once they hit 80K. Now, that's not going to be your compensation plan, but hopefully this is illustrating how to put together your commission-based compensation plan. Now, when it comes to retention, ideally the compensation plan is attractive compared to the rest of the marketplace, obviously. This, of course, is going to help the recruiting and the retention piece. But what can be a cherry on top in terms of retention is activity-based training pay. Now, this, like it says in the name, is activity-based, which means reps need to do specific things to qualify for training bonuses as they ramp up. So in the example we've used this far, the rep needs to do a minimum of 500K per year, which is a minimum of 40K per month. Now, from there, I'd want to understand how long it takes the average Joe to ramp up into that 40K per month or 10K per week range. Let's say, for the sake of illustration, it's 60 days, which means if a rep starts on day 1 and they do all the activities required over a 60-day period, then bare minimum, they're going to be at that 10K run rate per week in revenue, which of course is 40K per month. Now, of course, when you onboard the rep, you're looking to retain them through that timeline. In that example, 60 days. What we help clients do is we help them reverse engineer all the activities and the expected production that would happen in that example over 60 days. And then you can tie weekly or monthly bonuses to those things as the rep accomplishes those goals, as the reps accomplishes those tasks. So as an example, maybe it's do X, Y, and Z weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they get a $2,000 bonus at the end of month 1. And then they do A, B, and C, X, Y, and Z in 1, 2, 3 in month 2, and they get another $2,000 bonus in month 2. And the end result of that is they got $4,000 in bonuses in the first 60 days, which helps get some cash in their pocket as they're ramping up into a full-time income. Now, what's amazing about this is it's activity-based or production-based, so it protects you financially, but it allows you to communicate training pay in the recruiting process while also practically getting reps money a little bit more quickly than maybe the compensation plan would. And this, per the video training today, can radically impact your retention. This one thing alone, when we help clients structure this out specific to their opportunity, industry, and sales model, is usually something that 2x's the retention rates overnight. And we haven't even got to the other foundations. Now, your plans for growth in the future, your sales model, your budget, your ramp up timelines for a rep to get to quota are all going to be different, but hopefully that helps you improve your compensation if there's an opportunity to do so. The second foundation is your sales process. So your sales process is the system that reps run day to day in their sales job. This is foundationally one of the most important things to a sales department, especially a commission-based sales department, where ideally you have systems that reps can immediately plug into and see quick success. Now, quick success doesn't always mean quick money, and you may have an opportunity where it takes 30, 60, 90 days, maybe even up to 6 months to make good money, but ideally they can see day-to-day success within their sales job, and the sales system is a part of that. Now, it's very high level to start, but I like to think about the sales process in terms of 3 phases. Phase 1 is developing or mapping out all of the steps and stages within the sales process. Stage 2 is developing all the scripting or the communication layers within those stages of the sales process. And phase 3 is developing all the technology to streamline that entire sales system for the rep and to ensure reps can plug into a proven system that allows them to see success day in and day out. So sales steps or stages would be something like this. So let's say hypothetically that I have a B2B sales opportunity that I'm recruiting into, and reps are required to go B2B out in the field, knock doors, set their own appointments, close their own deals, and they own the A to Z sales cycle. Well, steps or stages in this example may be getting my lead list together, setting appointments, presenting to those appointments, following up and closing. And within that, there's 5 steps, but within each one of those steps, there's depth that needs to be defined within them. But within those steps, there's going to be goals, tasks, and definitions that need to be fully defined so the rep knows what every step is about. But that's very high level, structuring out the entire sales process so a rep knows, okay, I start here, then I go here, then I go here. And then within each one of those steps, I have definitions and instructions on how to execute on each one of those steps or stages. So that's kind of like the first phase, is mapping out all the information of what your sales system will be. Kind of like the SOP or the standard operating procedure for your sales process in-house. Phase 2 would be the scripting. And obviously within some of those stages, there's going to be communication layers to the process. In step or stage 1, where I'm just getting the lead list, maybe I'm not communicating to anybody, and that's just information gathering. So there's no scripting there. In stage 2, when I knock the door and go through the appointment setting script, of course, there's going to be scripting that needs to be understood there, along with top FAQs and objections. So the scripting in every area of your sales process, regardless of what it is, that needs to be developed, setting, closing, following up, those kind of things. Then lastly, beginning the technology required to streamline the entire process. So as an example, is there a system to know how to gather lead information? Is there a system to track what I'm doing in the field? Is there a CRM process to track my entire pipeline? Am I calling from my phone and texting from my phone, or is it a phone system connected to the CRM? How am I sending out contracts? In most cases, there's going to be 2, 3, 4, maybe up to 6 tools that bring the entire sales system together. And the end result is a rep comes on board, they know exactly what to do step by step within the process, they know exactly what they need to say at the communication layers of the process, and they know how to manage that system because the technology is integrated well within that process. And when you have that dialed within your business, it creates a much better system for reps to see success day in and day out, naturally produces more sales, and as a result of that, increases your retention rates. The third foundation is new hire onboarding. And this, of course, is the initial training reps get as they come on board your organization. And it's a really important aspect of retention. As an example, if you were to recruit me today and I was supposed to start this coming Monday, well, unfortunately for you, I don't just magically show up and know everything about your company, your industry, your sales process, your products and services, and more. And therefore, that information needs to be transferred to me, on top of ensuring that I master the communication aspects of the sales process as soon as possible. What you want is you want reps to retain the right information, to master the communication sides of your sales system as soon as possible, because the sooner that they do that, the more chances of success they're going to have on the phones or in the field, depending on whatever your sales model is. So there's 2 aspects of new hire onboarding that are incredibly important. They need to get the information, and on top of that, they need to practice the pitch. Now, the informational side of the onboarding process is typically 10 to 20 hours. And reps doing the role play aspect of the onboarding process, if you're doing it correctly, is also another 10 to 20 hours, which is 20 to 40 hours of work, assuming you want to do it right, which you should, just to onboard 1 rep. Now, of course, some of these things can be done in a group environment, but unfortunately, new hire onboarding is almost virtually impossible to do correctly, especially at scale. And when you're building a commission-based sales team and there's attrition, the reality is you may need to recruit 3, 4, 5 reps to get 1 to stick. And ideally, you have the systems to be able to onboard and train all of those reps to figure out who the winner is going to be. And if you're not delivering the information to them in the right way, and if you're not role-playing the pitch with them and giving them coaching in the right way, then unfortunately your retention is going to be horrible. Now, the positive thing about all this is a lot of this can be now automated with technology. So as an example, when we work with our recruiting clients, we help them build out their entire new hire training university, which pretty much automates everything informational around the new hire onboarding process. So they don't have to repeat themselves over and over and over again about their company, industry, sales process, products and services, and more every time they want to onboard a rep or a group of reps. So instead of that taking 10 to 20 hours, which in the middle is 15 hours, that information session just goes to a Monday new hire orientation, and it takes that 15 hours down to 2 or 3, meaning that you automate roughly 10 plus hours of new hire training without your time investment. But also there's the role-playing coaching aspect of ramping up reps as well. What we do for clients is we get an understanding of their customer profiles, which are the types of customers that they sell to. We get an understanding of their products and services, their offers, their scripts, their objections, their top FAQs, pretty much anything communication related within their sales process. And we build out custom AI role-play simulations for their company so that reps can log into the new hire onboarding account, practice the pitch, and get coaching perfectly every single time without the time investment from the company, without the time investment from a leader. And this allows the rep to automate their role-play and the coaching aspect of getting ramped up into the role, which is such an important piece to your retention systems. If you don't know the numbers, reps need to practice the pitch 40 to 50 times, which is an average of 45 times to master the pitch and be 100% confident in that role. And if you can automate the process for them to do 3, 4, 5 role plays a day, then they can go through that 40 to 50 number in just a couple weeks. Now, when you layer that on top of the New Hire Training University, the result of that is you've built an amazing new hire onboarding process, but you've also removed 80% of the workload off yourself, which is obviously huge. New hire onboarding, that third foundational topic, so very important to your success. And the fourth foundation to rep retention is sales management. Regardless if you want to build a sales team of 4, 40, 400, whatever the number is, at some time, if you're going to get serious about growing your organization, you're going to need sales leadership to delegate to. Even if you're a small business owner and you just want to build up a sales team of 2, 3, 4 reps, well, you're still not going to want to be a small business owner and operate the sales team and run your company at the same time and have to wear both of those hats long term. And therefore, even in your case, you'll need sales leadership. But as it relates to retention, is you can't provide the best opportunity possible as a small business owner if you're just investing into the sales team for 3 to 4, 5 hours a week. And therefore, the long-term ideal would be you have a full-time leader that you can delegate things like recruiting, onboarding, sales team meetings, one-on-one meetings, accountability, sales team coaching, sales team communication, reporting, and more, ensuring that there's a full-time effort going into the sales team, which of course is going to maximize retention rates. Now, hiring sales leadership is really difficult, and we don't recommend our clients hire outside sales leadership even when they're offering salaries. Because what we see in most cases when clients do that is they waste 3 to 6 months of salary just to place somebody into sales leadership who was not able to execute on the job. And what we do is a lot more financially conservative, but it also ensures that you put the right leader in the bus over a 3 to 6 month period, allowing you to truly delegate all of the leadership responsibilities to somebody else and step away from the sales team and manage your company in the way that you want to manage it. And it's fairly nuanced, but very high level. We have a system where reps need to start, and for the first 3 months, they need to align with 10 attributes or skills. And within the first 3 months, they need to align with 10 attributes or skills or tasks. Things like engaging in the sales management process, whatever that is for the company. Things like performing at a top 10% level consistently over that 90-day period, selling with integrity, aligning with the culture, and more. And if they perfectly align with those things over a 90-day period, they technically qualify to transition as a sales manager in training. And then in months 4, 5, and 6, they get trained up on things like recruiting, onboarding, training, sales team meetings, one-on-one meetings, accountability, sales team coaching, sales team communication, reporting, and more, so that by the end of 6 months, they can take on the full-time leadership responsibilities, allow the owner to step away or whoever was managing the sales team before, allowing that new sales manager, that sales leader, to independently run and grow the sales team without executive ownership. And when that full-time investment is going into the team, constant support, relationship building, training, and more, well, that obviously will positively impact your retention rates. And when your compensation plan is dialed, when your sales system is flushed out, when your new hire onboarding is created and automated, and when you have the right sales leader in place to run and grow the sales team, well, what we see in those situations is a worst case 2x increase in retention, but in most cases up to a 3 to 4, 5x in retention, which means your recruiting ROI on your financial investment and your time goes up exponentially. Now, our company, Sales Recruiting University, we recruit over 1,000 commission-based sales reps every single month for hundreds of businesses all over the country, and we help clients with all the things that we're talking about today. So if you'd like to connect with us to make the recruiting aspect of scaling your sales team easy, or if you want our help on the retention aspect of scaling your team, then I want you to go to salesrecruitinguniversity.com and connect with us right away. With that said, hopefully you got a ton of value from this video today. If you have any questions, make sure to drop it in the comment section, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.